All right, hello everybody. This is another session of Back from Lunch. Haven't seen y'all in a week or so, but it's all good. But in the meantime, in between time, we're collecting information to feed the hungry nations. So I have a special guest, and once again, before I go on to introduce my guest, Back from Lunch is reaching out to the everyday person to get their perspectives on different topics that may be concerned to the masses at large. And without further ado, my guest from the day is Brother Marcus. And Brother Marcus,
How
can
you
you
doing,
introduce?
brother?
Hey, what it do, bro?
Hey, nothing, just hanging in there, man.
That's what's up.
How you been doing?
Man, I'm good. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say, me and Brother Marcus, we go way back. We ran the streets together, went to school together. We was business partners per se together. We had various type of operations going on that are upcoming. They may not be considered by the mainstream the best of businesses, or even for our community. But both of us have had a change of mind and a change of heart. And I know for myself and from talking to Brother Marcus that we want the best for the people. We want the people to have, a clear understanding about what's going on, breaking the spells of our culture, of the governmental factions that have engulfed and manipulated the people's minds in our communities, throughout the neighborhoods, and throughout the world. Well, go ahead, Brother Marcus.
How you doing, brother? Man, I couldn't believe what I heard last night, man. But before I even bring it up, I want to say one thing. I know when me and you talk one on one, most of the time, we we always come from the perspective of the only thing that matters is the truth. It don't matter what religion you are, if you're Christian or you're Muslim or whatever, Buddhist, it don't really matter. We don't come from that angle. We just come from the angle of what's the truth. When it comes to politics, we don't care if you are a Republican, you're a Democrat. It don't even matter. We just come from the point of the truth. And so, and the reason I'm saying that is because I know, like right now, a lot of people have been uh, programmed into this train of thought where they feel like if you're not a part of their group, they don't even want to hear nothing you guys say. You an idiot. You dumb. You one of them. And I'm glad that when we usually discuss things, we don't even take that approach because, with that attitude, which is crazy, because that's like saying if a person is of a certain group, they can't even have a good idea or make any sense. Which that's not true. I believe that it don't matter what group you are part of. Some groups make sense with some things they believe in teach. Some things they believe in teach don't make sense. I just feel like, that's where we come in the middle and say, well, we don't care what you believe. Let's just focus on the truth of the matter and take it from there. So, um, and a lot of people not gonna receive this because you got some people, if you ain't toting the line of what they believe or their group or whatever, then like I say, they don't want to hear what you gotta say. And it's okay. If they don't have to listen or they don't have to be here. Most of the time they're not intelligent enough to be here anyway. So this is for the people who really got common sense and can think for themselves. And so on that note, I want to bring this up because just so happens this got to
Brother
do with
Marcus.
politics.
Brother Marcus,
Yeah.
let me say something real quick. Hold that thought, and then go into that. I wanted to expound on what you were saying because I had a discussion a day or two ago with an individual constituent of mine, someone that I dialogue with like yourself, and one of the topics came up about Republicans and Democrats. This religion, that religion, so forth and so on. And I was saying, I was asking the person, I said, how many people would have voted for Barack Obama if he was a Republican? And how many people voted for Barack Obama just because he was a so-called black man? So this is a very interesting psychological question because people most of the time they vote because their grandfather, their mother, or their family members was one party or another one. That's not intelligent. Also, with Barack Obama, people saying, I'm thinking most people would have voted for him if he was in either party just because he's a so-called black man, and that's not intelligent either. So a lot of times people do go out and do certain things, and it's based on a programming of their mind and how they view the world. It has nothing to do with the policies. Say in politics, what the policies are that this person promoting, they're voting for them just because they're with a particular party. Like like
Right.
like you were saying, it's no way in the world that I can say that everything the Republicans are saying are incorrect, and there's no way in the world that I can say everything that the Democrats are saying is correct. That's not
Right.
intelligent. Oh,
Exactly.
I just want to insert that into the dialogue. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, because it is some people are so mind locked into the little groups that they're in that they don't even see the truth on some issues. Which that's when I gotta walk away. If I'm showing you actual fact. And I'm saying, look, this is, what was that? This is a situation. And because you're so brain locked and because you don't want to believe that your group could be wrong about a certain issue, then there's no use in us having a discussion because you're not looking for the truth. You're just looking for someone to confirm what you believe or what you think or what you stand for. And it's like, I don't believe in that. I believe in no matter how much it might hurt or your feelings or go against what you believe, sometimes you just gotta deal with the truth of a situation. And so I'm just bringing all that up because just so happens we both are black and we are both talking to majority black people. White people can listen if they want, but this is really a conversation for black people. And most black people are Democrats. And so I'm bringing this up because I couldn't believe what the hell Joe Biden said out his mouth last night.
What was that, brother?
Joe Biden had a nerve to say, if you don't vote for him and consider voting for the Republican Party, you ain't black.
He said that. I
That's what he
haven't
said, bro.
I haven't heard that information, but I know that I most definitely consider you a reliable source. So
Bro,
what gave him
don't
the audacity to say such a thing? What was the circumstances of him
what,
making such a statement?
but what it was he was on the Breakfast Club talking to Charlamagne the God, and
Okay.
he was Charlamagne the God was doing an interview with him. And anyone can go online and listen to the interview and check it. But what happened was, close to the end of the interview, he started uh, going into that thing where you know how both parties try to scare you about the other party. Instead of them actually telling you what we're going to do for you, they start telling you, you can't do nothing. You got to have to vote us in or else they going to get in. And if they get in, it's going to be tough. So it's that whole scare tactic thing. So, but in the end, he turned around and was like, if you consider voting for the other party, you ain't black. And I'm trying to figure out what in the hell made him think that he even have the right to distinguish or to determine who's black and who's not black or black enough or whatever you want to call it. Because personally, I don't even think that any of our black leaders would have came out their mouth and said something crazy like that. I can't imagine Martin Luther King talking about, we're going to march on Selma, and if you don't join us, you ain't really black. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine Malcolm X coming out his mouth saying, if you don't do such and such, you ain't really black. So or not do such and such, but vote for the Democratic Party, you ain't really black. Because you know what Malcolm X said about both parties, bro.
Most definitely, both from the Canine family. One is a fox and one is a wolf. Both of them dogs.
Exactly. And so man, it's I don't know. The whole thing is crazy to me to think that he even thinks. To be honest with you, Jack, you know what this reminds me of?
What's
It
that?
reminds me of a abusive relationship
Uh,
because black people and the Democratic Party, there's a relationship there. We know that. It's been a relationship there for a while now, for quite a few decades. And so, but the problem is this: the reason I say abusive relationship because there's only one party receiving anything. These black people are not receiving anything. Even when Obama was in office, I know a lot of people like to worship Obama and think he's the new Jesus and all that, but the reality is Obama didn't do anything for black people. He did something for gay people, he did something for illegal immigrants, but he didn't do anything for black people. And the reason I'm saying that is because black people are still getting shot and white police are still getting off. But if you do something to a gay person right now, you will get hit with a hate crime and you might get about 10, 20 years. So I'm like, they pass laws to protect them, but they ain't pass no laws to protect us. They ain't do anything to protect us. So on that note, I'm just saying all that to say it's crazy to me that the Democratic Party, even though they haven't done anything for black people, in all these decades, they got a nerve to come around every year and act like they got a right to demand our vote. And then now they now they even getting beside themselves. It's like they got a right to determine if we black or not if we don't vote for them. I'm like, God damn, you
but
got a lot of nerve on that jump. What do you think?
I think that that's a valid point. But I also know that the so-called black man and black woman and people of the black community is just as responsible for Mr. Biden to come to the level where so that he feel comfortable enough to speak in such a matter. And it's because that, as you said, that we have been collectively being abused and steady going back to the abuser. In this case, we're identifying the Democratic Party, but in an umbrella perspective, I think it's the government in general. Local governments, local policies. You made mention of that how that brothers and sisters and people of nationalities other than so-called whites or Europeans, shot down, murdered in the streets, and there's no repercussions. Yet, if there's issue with gender preference person, that you'll get charged with a hate crime. And when you say that, it made me think that maybe some of the so-called black leaders should be trying to get passed into law a certain type of aggression is made towards black where lies have taken or certain types of abuse. That should be considered a hate crime as well, because a lot of these individuals perpetrating these acts against so-called blacks, from what I have seen, I know that it has it's seated in psychological disenfranchised with people of color because of the melanation of our skin and because of who that we are. And that is, most definitely a cause to, or enough evidence to categorize, this aggression of murdering, so-called blacks in the street as a hate crime. If it's done by the police or it's done by so-called law-abiding citizens, even if it's done by other blacks, so-called blacks, because we have to have a universal perspective when we're dealing with these laws and how they affect people in generally, from one group to another group to another group. And that's just the
Right.
point of view.
Yeah, because the crazy thing about the jump is the fact that a lot of people, and this is what blows my mind, Jack. I ain't gonna lie. A lot of people, whenever I talk to someone and they have in politics happen to come up, anyone black anyway, and so what I do is I try to be like, well, wait a minute. Let's look a little bit at the history of the Democratic Party for a second. And a lot of people don't like to do that because when you start bringing up facts about the Democratic Party, they try to be like, you must be a Republican. You must like Donald Trump. No, let's get something clear right now before we even go any further. This ain't got anything to do with the Republican Party or Donald Trump or none of that. Me personally, I will never vote for neither one of the parties because both of them is full of you know what. But let me just say something about the Democratic Party because a lot of black people need to wake up about this. A lot of black people might not remember this, but there was a point a little while ago that the CIA, it came out that the CIA during the 80s and early 90s, the CIA was flooding all of the black neighborhoods all over the country with crack cocaine. That's no secret no more. But what is a secret that is, or it seems like it's a secret, is the fact that it was Bill Clinton and it was Joe Biden. He was around too during this same period, and they started pushing all of those crimes, the crime bill,
3 strikes you out.
The 3 strikes you out, the RICO law, saying like, oh, if you know this person over here, even though y'all not like working together as a team, they was linking y'all together saying this is a conspiracy joint, and all them crazy laws where it's like, if you just get caught with a possession of certain things, you getting 10, 20, 30 years. All them laws, that was pushed by Bill Clinton and the Democratic Party. And a lot of people don't look at the cause and effect. Them laws put hundreds and thousands of black men behind prison to this day. Look, Jack, you and me both remember how the 80s and 90s was in D.C. when it was D.C. was city under siege and everybody was getting shot and locked up and all of that.
Yeah,
and
murder
they started
capital.
hitting everybody.
Murder
They were
capital.
hitting everybody. Yeah, they started hitting everybody with all them crazy amount of time. 20 years for a small possession of this, 10 years for a small possession of that. And
Right.
so,
Mandatory minimums.
yeah, and
4 to
then
12,
Hillary,
5 to 15, 3 to
during that
9.
same, during that same period, Hillary, she was running around talking about they're
Savages.
super predators.
Super predators.
We need
Right.
to make them heal. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, wow, look at the effect that the Democratic Party has had on the black people as a whole nationwide. Like all these black brothers locked up, the keys been thrown away, and then this will make it so bad, Jack. This is the part that's like a slap in the face. This is why I say it's an abusive relationship. 4 years ago, when Hillary Clinton was trying to run against Donald Trump, right?
Right.
Bill Clinton actually came out and apologized for the crime bill because they see a lot of black people don't know that how messed up that joke was, but that just goes to show that they know the damage they've done. And guess what? They apologized for it, but they ain't let nobody out of jail. How the hell you gonna apologize for locking up all these people in these crime bills and you don't let nobody out of jail? That's like me stealing your car. You catch me down at the shopping center driving your car, and you like, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, bro. I ain't mean to take your car. You getting off the bus and shit.
Did he? Hey, Brother Mark.
I don't give you your car back.
Brother Mark.
I don't give you your keys back.
Brother Mark. Did he?
Yeah.
Because I remember his apology, and for me, I was thinking that take a man to do that. But what my question to you is that was that on Obama watch, or was that on one of the Bush's watch when he made that apology? Because I want to know. Because I want to know. Go ahead. My bad.
He made the apology. Obama was still president, but Hillary Clinton was running against Donald Trump. So it was during election time. And
right.
So that's when he came out and apologized. But and Obama was the president at the time until Trump took over. And so I'm just saying that to say that's how bad they dog black people, where they'll throw an apology, but they won't really correct the problem, even though they caused the problem. And then they got a nerve to come around 4 years later and act like they got a right to tell you better vote for us or else you ain't even black. Like, man, Jack, man. Come on, man.
So I want to, expound on what you were speaking on. as far as our people collectively don't even know the history of the Democratic Party or the Republicans. It's a well-known fact that that most blacks, at the turn of the 20th century were Republicans. And all the
Right.
way up until, coming into the, I guess going in the 70s or 80s, some type of transition took place. But during the
It was. It was. I know what you're talking about. It was back. I think back around the like the 19. It was like around the early 1900s because I know what you're talking about. Well, the only reason black people became democratic is because a lot of that's when the unions and all that stuff started starting up, and so all the unions and stuff was through the Democratic Party, and they was kind of supporting unfair treatment as far as in works and all, jobs and all that stuff for everybody. So the Democratic Party kind of went, black people kind of went with the Democratic Party on that note. But it was the Democratic Party that, like you said, was racist and wanted to keep slavery in effect
all
all
right.
that time.
So appreciate that information, brother. What I was getting at is that coming through the 60s when Brother Minister Malcolm was a spokesperson for those in the black community didn't have a voice, he made it known that the Democrats were formerly known as the Dixiecrats because the Democratic
Yeah,
Party actually formed in the South. And
yeah,
he identified those as the Southern Wolves and the Republican Party in the North. He was called them the Northern Foxes. But the thing about the Dixiecrats, Malcolm, he was a man of a great understanding. He said he rather dealt with the Dixiecrats, the racist people, because they were straight up. They said, we don't want to be segregated with you. We don't want to integrate with you. We hate you. We want to kill you. He said that the Northern Foxes, which was the Republicans at that time, and Brother Minister Malcolm's analogy, he said they want to sit down and have coffee with you and then kill you off the slow kill. So I make mention of this because me myself, I look at the political arena as it's a hustle. And in a
right.
sense, where as though they act like they giving us a choice, but it's still the same party, the same agenda in the long run.
Exactly.
So going along the way, they may have some other routes to go, but they still taking us to grandma's house to get eaten by the big bad wolf. So one thing that I know that the that we when we looking at them, it's like they want us to choose. Do you want to be in the Crips or do you want to be in the Bloods? Do you want to be in the El Rugans or you want to be in the Vice Lords? It's all the games. And then they master liars. No one in the political arena, as far as the president, since I've been conscious of being looking at politics in the from the distance that I look at it, is able to tell the truth. It's kind of like the Congress is set up to have the president to fail. From my earliest remembrance, Jimmy Carter, so forth and so on, coming up to the modern day, Congress is always set against the president. The presidents they come out of these I remember when the Clintons they came out, they want to have this health bill, this and this and this and this and this, but the Republican
Right.
Party fought them tooth and nail, and they gave it up. Then come back in in the Obama situation. But what was really disheartening to me and made me not want to have nothing to do with these hustlers because they do the Molly game. They kind of like
Uh-huh.
they got one person on the side coming through the game and try to get somebody else baited in, but they already have an agenda. The agenda is the agenda of their foreparents. But the crazy thing is say like me and you, we are I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat, or vice versa, and I got a good idea. You think it's a good idea, but because you with that particular party, you vote against me. And my bill or whatever it get knocked down, and then afterwards, me and my wife and you and your wife go to have dinner. Man, where I come from, that's hustling.
Yeah.
Because it's nowhere in the world, you my man, you know I got a good idea, you over in that party, and then we supposed to have the best interest of the people. It's not about the best interest of the people, it's about politics,
Yeah.
politricks, hypocrites, spitting venom of the serpent men, the reptilians, take your pick, Democrats or Republicans. They think they slick. That's the way your man said, man. I ain't got, I don't got no problem with nobody with their personal preference of where they want to, uh, you know, get initiated into the bloods of
Right.
the Republican parties or the Crips of the Democratic Party. But
Yeah.
so-called blacks, where we failed at as a people is that we haven't been able to come together and form our own party and put together, a person or persons that be running against these major parties that we're going to support because they haven't been bought out by these major corporations, these insane psychological ideas of the previous governing factors. So so-called blacks have a big responsibility to come together collectively and start to build our own parties, our own everything, just like the Black Wall Streets, things of that nature. Why they
Right.
haven't done it in the political arena if we are dissatisfied. But a lot of so-called blacks are not dissatisfied because they've been conditioned, they've been
Yeah.
cultivated, they've been programmed, they've been brainwashed into thinking that this is the best idea since the planet Earth has come into existence to have a so-called Democratic Party, a Democratic Republican Party, or democracy, which in reality is a republic.
Right. And you know what? You hit the joint on the head too, Jack. I'm gonna tell you one of the things. Uh, I like what you said when you were saying as far as the people, pretty much, uh, the people, as far as the reason Biden can come out and say something crazy like that is also because the people have allowed him. The black people have allowed this type of behavior. That's why I was, that's why I was saying this thing is like a bad relationship, man, between the black people and the Democratic Party. Because I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna tell you what really, really, really gets under my skin when it comes to the whole Democratic Party. Like we was just saying a little while ago about how it was Bill Clinton. They pushed them crime bills. They sent hundreds of thousands of black men in jail for 20, 30 years. Me and you know people right there that still locked up from the 80s because of them
Uh,
crime bills.
R Street, Lincoln Road,
And dang,
seven,
and so I'm
17,
looking at that. I'm like, wow, they just turned around
Hanover.
and right, they just turned around, passed these bills, got all these black men locked up. And then, this is the slap in the face right here, Jack. This is the joint, and I don't understand how some black people can even support this crazy joint. The joint they really blows is, then you turn around and have the Democratic Party come to us, the same black people that they took all our brothers and locked them up, and tell us that we need to overlook what the illegal immigrants are doing. Because even though they're sneaking in the country and breaking a federal law, they said, don't look at it like that. We need to support them and overlook that they broke a federal law. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, time out. You mean to tell me you're going to skip over all the hundreds and thousands of black men in jail right now with a simple possession charge? You're going to say they don't need to come out of jail. We can't overlook their federal offense, even though it wasn't nothing violent. But you want us to overlook these people's federal offense, and they don't even belong here. I'm like, man, we not only belong here, we built the goddamn country, but yet you're going to tell us to overlook their joint, and they don't belong here? How crazy is that? I'm like, man, that's a slap in the face right there. And then on top of that, they not only are they all over here, they're taking the jobs that we used to get. All them construction jobs, all them 1 day jobs, all the jobs that a lot of people didn't used to like to do that it was a lot of black people that would do, we can't even do them no more. You can't go to no fast food restaurant or no construction site and get a job no more real quick because the Migos got it. And half of them ain't supposed to be here. So I'm like, wow, man, this is crazy right here that they telling us that we supposed to support the illegal immigrants. Listen to that. Illegal immigrants. But yet,
Politics. Politics.
but yeah, what about the illegal black people? What about the illegal black people that was set up with when the CIA was putting all that crack in all of the black neighborhoods? We can't overlook that. We can't let them out. So That joke to me burns me up every time I hear them. Now I don't got nothing against illegal immigrants or Spanish people, none of that. I'm like, they got their own problems. I feel sorry for them. Hey, it's cool. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how am I supposed to work? How am I supposed to feel bad for you and I'm supposed to support you and not support my own brothers that's locked up that's supposed to be in? And the Democratic Party is pushing this junk. I'm like, oh nah, man. Nah, man, they got me effed up with that one, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, it's another part of the psychological games that they play. Setting one group of people against another group. They, within the construct of the government, they have what's known as social scientists, and they study the behavior of human beings, and they know to do certain things that trigger people to have them to react. And the illegal immigrants and how they are supporting and promoting them, they're using them as pawns, and they also using them as deterrents for so-called blacks to operate in a certain type of way. They want us to become emotional with these blatant disregards for the law. Hold people of color, so-called blacks, to the letter of the law. In so many cases around the country right now today. People being locked up, confined, separated from their people. Then they get out of jail so many years later. DNA people coming, admitting that they've done it, and all different types of things. But this is a reflection of the racism, the supremacist, so-called white supremacist ideology that still operates in the shadows of the government and in the shadows of the minds of the people. A lot of people will say up front that that they not racist, they not have they're not bigots, they don't have anything against other nationalities. But when you look at how the United States came about, it was built off of racism. So racism is a part of the foundation of the United States. It's a part of the psychological consciousness and subconscious of the people of the United States. When you come from another country, you have most of the time they have already been programmed to look at so-called blacks and a disdainment. Even people coming from Africa, they already done showed them over there that they over here they killing each other, they doing this and this and this. And this. So it's a program that they have placed in these people's minds before they get here, so they become apprehensive and looking at the so-called black man as the bad man. Now, on another note, in a lot of our communities, we have been corporates and promoting and demonstrating in types of ways that that we got to take responsibility for. Matter if the so-called the European put the coke there, the guns there, the alcohol, the liquor stores there. All the time we got choices. And it's about becoming mature, and it's like a game in a sense. If you know that you go over here and you go get these hammers and you go get this liquor and you get to listening to this music, you go do a drive by. We could say, yeah, man, the music did it. They had they sold us the guns, they sold us the liquor, but at the end of the day, your choices had you to get to these stages. We be setting ourselves up. And I'm like, we got to take responsibility for ourselves and stop making these choices that is a part of the destructive programming that's deep within a lot of us. So we got to become aware, and then we got to become awake, and we got to become conscious of the tactics of the enemy. And when I say the enemy, I'm not talking about so-called whites in generally. I'm talking about the psychological, mental mind frame of the Westerners that has been implanted in our minds. Man, one time they said that a brother named Dr. Cook, he said, man, they said, yeah, Dr. York, he brainwashing y'all. And Dr. York said, yeah, these brains need to be washed. And that's what I would say. Our brains need to be washed. Washed from all the foolishness that we have incorporated into our lives, all the justifications for not being responsible men, responsible husbands, responsible brothers, sisters, and cousins, for not being a responsible family, and set a more positive demonstration for the people of the planet. It's evident that we have magnetism, whereas though that people around the world are following our demonstration. They following the thug life. They following all the negative things we do. But you got to think if we shift the pole of our operation from so-called negativity to a more positive and stand up like the kings and queens and knowledgeable, noble people of this world, will these same people not follow that? I'm not saying all of them will, but I'm telling you from using collective reasoning that we'll be setting a better precedence. And we leading people to hell. I'm not talking about hell as fire and brimstone. I'm talking about a hellish experience in the physical form
Yeah.
by our
But
demonstration.
one of the things too, I know I had to take into consideration a while ago because um, one thing that I used to notice that when I used to check out different talk shows and stuff, and I used to notice that whenever you talk about any of the white talk shows, they always throw that in there trying to make it say like, well, yeah, black people, y'all killing each other, y'all doing this, and it's true. Black people are killing each other in every city and crime and all that. But one of the things I had to take into consideration with that also, because it's nobody's fault but us when we do that type of stuff to each other, or period. But one of the things I definitely had to take into consideration is this: poverty brings on crime. It breeds all
True.
types of crime.
True that.
And a lot of the things that I used to notice that when you hear white people talking about, oh, y'all black people doing this, y'all doing that, and blah, 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 one of the things they fail to not mention is that when you look in the 1800s, when they started that immigration program from Europe, and they started bringing over all them different European nations over here, the Italians, the Irish, the Jews, you can go down the line, and they put all of them, because during that time when they brought them over here, they didn't consider them white. They were like the niggers of Europe. And so when they got over here, they treated them like that, and they put them in all of the poverty areas, all of the
Ghettos.
cities and low areas. And guess what happened?
Crime.
It was crime flowing over. The cup was overflowing, Jack. You
Right.
had murder, you had kidnapping, you had rape, you had poverty, you had all of the elements that's in any poverty area right now.
True.
And so one of the things I just wanted to mention was, because what they try to do is they try to make it say like black people just do that type of stuff.
Right.
And what
Right.
I'm
Right.
just I'm bringing that out to show that no, anybody does that type of stuff when they're in a certain environment with certain conditions. And so it's not a black thing.
Mo,
That's not a white thing. It's just a thing of desperation. When people in poverty and they get desperate, they do things that they normally wouldn't do. And so I like to throw that out there because I know like right now, it'd be like black people doing this and doing that. But look at the condition of black people. We living in the worst conditions nationwide. And why are we living in the worst conditions? It's because a while ago, back in the 50s and 60s and before that, we weren't allowed to even buy houses or property in certain areas. We was forced to go in certain areas only, the urban areas. And that's where we stayed, generation after generation. So all in all, I'm just throwing that out there to say that, yeah, in poverty areas, in urban areas, in certain cities, there is a lot of crime and killing and murder and all that. But it ain't nothing that's not normal to human nature when you put any group of people in that condition. That's
True.
all.
I most definitely agree, brother Marcus. One thing that I have come to accept as reality of my thought process is that this whole world the Earth is a scientific laboratory, and I make mention of that because they have the nationalities of people that you mentioned beforehand, the Irish, the the Jews, so forth and so on. When they was in those ghetto type of environments, they that was an experiment, and they moved up. They moved out slowly but surely, and then the so-called sons and daughters of the former slaves, they moved into it, and the same old thing. If it's just like the rat on a treadmill or going through the maze. It's an experiment, and I firmly have acknowledged to myself that they are experimenting on us all the time. With the medication, with the food, with all different types of things. People out this junk having chemical imbalances on account of certain types of things they ingest in their system every day. Brother Marcus, the show is coming to an end, and I want to know if you have any closing words, any words of advice or encouragement to our listening audience.
Only thing I can say is people just think for yourself. You know what I mean? Don't go with the flow of no particular group or nothing. Get all the facts and just make your own decision. That's all. I ain't saying don't be a Democrat. I ain't saying don't be a Republican. I ain't saying you can be whatever you want to be. Just do whatever you're going to do based on facts and common sense. That's all. If it don't make no sense, then don't do it.
If it
That's the
don't,
only thing I'm saying.
if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. That's
That's
sense
true.
and sense.
Sometimes it makes dollars and it don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but I definitely appreciate the time, man, and allow me to come on the show, man.
Well, it was more an honor to have you on, and I greatly appreciate your viewpoints, the information that you shared with our audience, and for surely we'll have you back on in the future with other topics. Ladies and gentlemen, this was another session from back from lunch. Hope that you acquire some information that possibly assist you on your daily travels. Just think about some of the things we said. One thing for sure, anything that I have said, I can't speak for Brother Marcus, but it's just a point of view. I'm not upset with you because of your point of view, and I would appreciate you wouldn't be upset with me because of my point of view. But if you are, I ain't mad at you. Hey, everybody take care. Peace, love, grace. And remember, in life, have a purpose, on purpose, with purpose.